Well, hi everybody. As you can see, I posted a little video, very poignant, in which Dolores says of Bobby's testimony, it's not the truth. It's not good to see, to hear, um, and I thought that Bobby liked Steve. But obviously getting on the witness stand and lying is called perjury. And as far as the ladder of guilt is concerned, no matter where we might think that Bobby goes, the one thing we do know is that he's definitely on the ladder. That maybe the bottom rung is simply perjury, getting on the stand and lying. But of course, that perjury in itself is responsible for burying alive or helping to bury alive two innocent people. And we know it's a lie. We've got obviously Bobby's older brother saying that it couldn't have been Steve. Bobby said to him, it couldn't have been Steve. I saw Teresa leave. And of course, Steve, in that famous phone call, confronts Bob about that and says, that Bobby said it couldn't have been me because you saw Teresa leave. And that was a couple of days after Teresa's disappearance. And yet, when it came to trial, blatantly lying about it, committing perjury. It doesn't really matter, Bob saying things like, none of them had anything to do with anything. When clearly, somebody quite clearly, we've got the evidence that somebody certainly did something about putting Steve and Brendan where they are. Now, the other interesting thing about that phone call, of course, is the way that Bob is in effect protesting at Steve about where the investigation is going. The investigation will go where the investigation will go. And it's not up to Bob to sort of plead with Steve that, Kathleen Zellner should back down from looking at Bobby and Scott. To a lot of people, when it comes to the ladder of guilt, a lot of people have put them right at the very top rung. Perhaps the truth is somewhere in between. We've certainly got what seems to be very, very strong corroborated evidence that Bobby was involved with planting the RAV4. But was it his idea, or was he just merely acting as an accomplice? And as I've said to Bob in the past, when you look back at what Bobby and Scott said at trial, are you happy with everything that they said? Particularly Bobby's statement that at trial, he saw the car, but there was no sign of Teresa. Anyway, so Bobby, if I can speak directly to you, lying at trial, and fair play, you're not the only one, but to do what you did to help put your own brother and uncle, bury them alive, that's pretty sad. That's pretty sick. We don't know what pressures you're under. People are suggesting there's mitigating circumstances that the state put pressure on you. We know, for example, that your dad, Pete, they were on at him all the time. Steve's guilty. Tell Brendan to plead guilty. Steve's guilty. When in fact, as we know, nothing could be further from the truth. As I say, committing perjury, that is serious. So I've done a little bit of research, and I found you a defense lawyer not far away in Madison who actually specializes in perjury. Interesting name, Robert T. Ruth. Pretty good name, wouldn't you say? That's all we want, is the truth. Madison criminal defense lawyer Robert T. Ruth defends individuals accused of perjury in Wisconsin courts. He has been a Wisconsin lawyer since 1993 and has devoted his law firm to criminal defense since then. He is well versed in all aspects of criminal defense in Wisconsin and federal courts, from the initial stages of a case through direct appeal, petition for review, or petition for certiorari and collateral attack. If you stand accused of perjury anywhere in Wisconsin, let his experience in the courtroom, along with his commitment to his clients, go to work for you. Madison, Wisconsin, perjury defense lawyer attorney. Now, this is the bit that you really need to pay attention to, Bobby. Perjury in Wisconsin is a class 1 felony punishable by up to 6 years prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Now, most people understand that a perjury charge requires proof of a lie. It is important to note, however, that not just any lie, not even a lie in court, is necessarily perjury. To amount to perjury in Wisconsin, the state must prove all of the following beyond a reasonable doubt. So let's have a look. See what boxes you tick. That the defendant orally made a statement. Yep, you tick that box. That the defendant was under oath or affirmation at the time the statement was made. Tick. That the defendant did not believe that the statement was true at the time it was made. True. That's the point. Even your own mother agreed with Steve on the phone that, yeah, that's what you said to either Blaine or Brian, was the fact that it couldn't have been Steve. I saw her leave. That the statement was made in a proceeding before a court. One of the biggest trials in Wisconsin history is where you committed perjury, and that the state was material to the proceeding. Well, that's very much the case, isn't it? Okay, so, really, the charade of Bob saying nobody had anything to do with anything, that must stop. That, Bob, I've asked you on a couple of occasions now, are you happy with everything that Bobby and Scott said at trial? You cannot possibly, you even admitted to Steve on the phone. You said, yeah, that's what Bobby said to Brian. So this idea that nobody had anything to do with anything, sorry, the investigation will go where it's going to go, and you're pleading to Steve to try and get Kathleen to back off. That's not going to do anything other than make her even more determined. And she's doing a damn good job of it so far. As I say, we don't know if Bobby, what level, what's rung of the ladder of guilt that Bobby is on. Some people are very, very suspicious. A lot of people out there believe that Bobby and Scott are the ones that are responsible for the disappearance of Teresa, with obviously, pressure and coercion from somebody within the Manitowoc Sheriff's Department, most likely the former sheriff of Manitowoc, Tom Kasura, because it spared him having to give his deposition. We don't know what rung of the ladder Bobby is on, but even perjury is a 6-year, $10,000 fine. And this charade has got to come to an end. You're only hanging on to this ever-rising balloon. You're in a hole. Stop digging. Start talking. Start explaining to Kathleen Zellner about the pressures. If there were pressures that were brought to bear, and there must have been, for Bobby to have changed his testimony when it came to trial, I don't think anybody disputes that he would have been put under huge pressure. We know that the whole family were put under pressure. Unfortunately, Brendan, the youngest and the weakest, there was no way he was equipped to deal with that pressure. But for making a murderer, we would have probably never discovered. Well, we wouldn't have discovered most of what we now know about Teresa's disappearance and the framing of Steve and Brendan. As I say, the charade has to end. Simply saying nobody had anything to do with anything is simply not That does not abide. Okay, anyway, hopefully I'm going to get a chat with the Hod fairly soon. So I'll say cheerio. Thanks again. Catch you soon. Bye for now.